Stop playing with him, Riot. And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a 10. Like Gabby, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies is bad. It's girls, and we ain't playing tag. Red, but he spank me when I get back. I'm in LA, Buffalo Drive. I'm in New York, Madison Ave. I'm a Barbie girl. Pink Barbie dream house.
In honor of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I'm going to tell you my story. I didn't want this month to end without me making an impact, without me taking a stand, without me standing with my people. This is my story. I want to do this right. I want to speak from a place that is honest. I want to speak from a place that is sincere. And in being honest and sincere, I am not healed. I'm trying to navigate those waters. It's something that I hope for. I don't think I really ever realized how much those betrayals really impacted my life, impacted my relationships. And the fact that, in my case, this started when I was young. I may have been 6 or 7 years old the first time. And it was at the hands of a family member. An older child, actually. And I think that very thing made me wonder if what happened, at least at that point, was a crime. I didn't say anything because at the time I felt like that was what was best for my family. And now that I'm all grown up, right? I look back and I realize, wow, that was the effect right there. The fact that I was thinking about my family and what this would do if I revealed this then. And I was just a little girl. I do have regrets. I have regrets because there was never any justice in that situation. But I also realize now that things happen the way they're supposed to. And I feel like it did mold me into not only the damaged woman I am today, but the great woman that I am today. One of the many things. I was molested by an older cousin at my grandparents' house when I was 6 or 7 years old. Like most people in African American households, you know, when adults are talking, you go play. I was told to go play. And when I tell you the game of house or mommy and daddy, whatever you want to call it, is a childhood game that would forever scar me. And when I say scar me, again, I'm still in my adult life, in my early 30s, coming to terms and realizing the things that that particular incident did. Again, I went to play, and the older cousin, fondled, touched, revealed themselves. I'm not going to get too graphic about this because obviously, you know, I don't want to trigger anybody. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. And this went on for a while in that afternoon. I actually managed to get away at one point because I actually really did have to go use the bathroom. I had to pee. And I remember I went in the bathroom. And that bathroom's lock was messed up. I remember a red ribbon tied around it so there would be like a little give to the door. And they came in. And they told me to stand up. I stood up in front of the vanity. They came behind me. And I remember feeling an intense pain that would change my life forever. And you can take from that what you will, because again, I'm not going to get too graphic. It didn't last very long. And you know what? I will say that God was in the situation, because that part didn't last very long. And my mom actually came to check on me. And that person had slipped out and, of course, told me not to say anything. I didn't tell her. It was time to go. And we moved on. I would have to see that person periodically. God was good, and they didn't live in the area, and I didn't have to see them very much. But when I did have to see them, this was someone because no one knew what was going on, I would have to, in African American households and in most households, you got to speak. I'd have to speak to this person. I'd have to hug this person. I remember when our grandpa died, and this person hugged me tightly and cried. And I don't even think they realized they were hugging me, because they were so upset, because this person always acted weird around me too, because they knew what they had done. But even at a funeral, at a wake, I had to endure, because I had to think about, this is not the time to, act irrational. This is not the time to be upset. So someone who had abused me, I'm consoling them during an already difficult time. But now I'm having to have you touch me, knowing that you've done something terrible to me when I was young. But you know what I realized? That person went on to have they went on to have a life, a flourishing life from what I understand. They're doing okay. They got a couple kids. It's never been discussed. It's not something that I'm quiet about. I don't, I can speak openly, because there was no justice in that situation, but this is my justice, and my voice is my justice. And what I'm getting at with this, sometimes that is the only justice, when we choose to handle things how we see fit. As a child, I made a decision to not discuss that and tell anyone. And when I did tell someone, it was too late. I really hurt my mother when I told her, but I think it was a necessary hurt. And I feel like we as women at that point in time were able to bond more. I didn't tell my mother till I was 18. And the crazy part is, what drove me to tell my mother about that incident is when I was 18 and I was sexually assaulted by a much older man. I had babysat one of my friend's kids. She had a few kids. And she was going to go somewhere again and wanted to know if I wanted to come with her. And I was like, no, I'll just stay here. Bad decision I made. There was a man there. He was in his 30s at the time. And his brother was there too. I don't know why I didn't go. And I blame myself, or I have blamed myself for not going. But I just felt so comfortable in her home. And I did tell her about this later on. I felt so comfortable in her home. I guess maybe that's why I just decided not to go. with her at the time because she had left me in her house before. We were really, really good friends. This man told me he wanted to talk to me. He's like, come here, I want to talk to you. I was like, why can't you talk to me right here? We were like in the living room. And he's like, no, I want to talk to you. Like, just come here. He goes to the doorway of her bathroom. And when I go to the doorway of the bathroom, he pulls me in. He locks the door and he turns off the lights. It happened so fast. Like, I remember saying, what are you doing? No. It's dark. It's a smaller bathroom, but I'm not the size I am now. Like, I was much smaller then. I remember backing up in the dark. And I like instinctively just sat down. I remember feeling the toilet bowl in my back. And this person, again, I'm not going to be too graphic, but informed me that if I didn't do some kind of sexual favor for them, we're not leaving out of this room. So I went into survival mode. This was somebody that I knew actually had a gun. Not saying they didn't threaten me with it. I will not say that they did. But this person I knew had a gun. They had talked about it. Again, stupid decision to stay around someone like this. But I thought about that. So something that was not consensual happened between us. And they did something really, really gross and disgusting. Well, for the situation. This person left a mess all over my face and my clothes, and they walked out. I remember sitting there in the dark for a minute. I got up, I turned on the light. My lip was bruised, and my face was dirty from what had happened. I washed my face. I come out of the bathroom, and again, I think this is another situation where I have to bring God in it. My friend came back not long after that. I look in the living room, and there's the other guy just sitting there. Mind you, the way the apartment was set up, that wall was against the same wall where here's the living room, here's the bathroom. This person, what I'm getting at, this person heard everything. They did not come to help me. That was another betrayal, and that was another instance where that would affect my relationships with men. Not only had a man taken advantage of me now as a legal adult, but a man stood by while it happened. I didn't tell my friend for a while. And, she felt bad, and she said, had I known that, I would have, she wouldn't have been cool with them anymore. Like, I know she would have, you know what I'm saying? But I just didn't. I just couldn't tell for a while. But like I said, interestingly enough, me telling my mother about the childhood attack was only because we were talking and this new thing had happened to me. There was never any justice in any of those situations. This is my justice. And the justice is that I'm able to speak about it today. I haven't figured out what healing is. It still affects my life in many, many ways. It's not something I cry about, but I think my soul cries about it. I think the impact of my life that it has had on my life cries about it. I think it has impacted the way that I choose to surround myself with people and the way that I choose to mother and go out here in the world and be around people. My goal is to help others along with helping myself. So that's why I wanted to tell you this story. That doesn't define me in who I am. I feel like I've survived the unsurvivable. Um, and you can too. Don't let anyone silence you. I urge you, if something like this happens to you, if you want to go to the police, go to the police. If you want to work it out with a therapist, work it out with a therapist. If you want to turn to God, turn to God. Whatever you have to do to overcome and learn. And if you haven't overcome it yet, because I haven't, this was something that these things happened to me many years ago. If you have to learn to live with it, you can thrive. You can be okay. You can be somebody's wife. You can be somebody's mother. You can be somebody's. This doesn't just happen to women. This happens to men too. You can be somebody's husband. You can be somebody's father. You can be somebody despite these terrible things. Never let anyone take your voice from you. This is my justice. And I hope and pray that other people who've been through this find theirs. I hope me telling you my story will help you tell yours, will help you overcome it, will help you learn that you are worthy and you deserve the world. There's going to be some people that don't agree with me talking about these things publicly, but this had to be said. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope I helped somebody tell their own. Bye, guys.